Hello? 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 The echo is still there. It's not as bad as before, but it's still there. Hello? 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 Oh, I think it's better now. Hello? But it's the hissing noise.
When it starts coming in.
No, but we are feeding voice into it, but it's still there.
Yeah, but when he starts and you start to speak as well, it might change.
It might.
Yeah, it might change.
Okay, sorry.
It might change.
Sorry. Oh boy. These guys don't like.
Thank you. We'll start again.
Hello, Mr. Jammeh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, wonderful. My name is Mr. Esa Fall. This is just a short dry run just to test the systems to see that they work perfectly. You understand me?
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I do.
At our end, we are experiencing some difficulty. There's a lot of hissing noise in the headphones, and there's a lot of echoing. So we're trying to have those issues sorted. Otherwise, it may be difficult it would be too much for council to really handle and also perform her duties. You know, it would be really difficult. So, may I inform the technicians that this problem is not going away? It's still there. I'm sure you could hear it.
Okay, we are on it. We are on it.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Kenneth. Hello.
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 Yes.
Hello.
Can you please use your headphone, please?
Headphone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just a minute.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Hello, sir. Your Excellency, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Mr. Fall, please, a minute. I'm communicating with him to solve this problem.
Thank you very much.
Are you hearing me, Mr. Witness?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Thank you. Let me link you with Esafa. Mr. Esa, can you please communicate with him?
Hello, Mr. Witness. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Technicians at the OV van, our problem is not hearing each other. The problem is that there is so much noise in the microphone, which is really distracting. And additionally, there is this echo, which is also very distracting. Is it possible to sort those problems? I mean, yesterday we did not have them. So I see no reason why we can't solve the problem today, seeing that we did yesterday.
This is technical thing. It may happen at times. In the morning we were testing.
Hello?
Everything was
I
going
think
fine.
it's getting
Yes,
better.
I hope we'll be
Yes,
able to
I think now
regularize
we
it.
can proceed. Huh? Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Council. Before we start our proceedings, we have our religious leaders offer prayers, please. Imam, see, you have the floor. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين وإن تستفتحوا فقد جاءكم الفتح نصر من الله وفتح قريب وبشر المؤمنين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل والله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر وسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much for that, Imam C. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Gracious and eternal Father, we continue to thank you for your mercy, your goodness, your love, and your grace, and your compassion, and for your giving spirit over this nation, the Gambia. As we continue our sittings in the TRRC, we submit ourselves before you. We submit the whole country, the nation, the Gambia before you. We submit all the witnesses who will be testifying before you. And we pray, Lord, that you will enable us to be able to speak the truth. And that, Lord, as we do that we will be able to come to healing, come to reconciliation, and come to forgiveness. And that, Lord, that you will prepare the reparation for those who would need the reparation. Father in heaven, we continue to ask that the Holy Spirit will unite the people of this land as one people. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop, for that. Council, can we continue with the witness, please?
Yes, indeed. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Mr. JAMMEH. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can hear you clearly.
Good morning, Mr. JAMMEH. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me also?
Unfortunately, I cannot hear you.
Oh, that's very unfortunate. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Well, this is more for the technicians. I can't hear the witness. And I don't believe I'm the only one.
It's unfortunate.
Can you please say something, Mr. JAMMEH?
Yes, I can hear you. Well, can you hear me?
We can't
you
hear
hear
the
me?
witness. Say that again, sorry.
I'm asking whether you can hear me.
I can now hear you along with a little bit of the hissing sound, but we'll continue and see how far we can progress. So before we start, do you have a copy of the Quran?
Yes, I have.
If you can just hold it up so that we can see it.
Yes, that's the copy of the Quran.
Now can you repeat after me as I administer the oath? I, Kemesem SM JAMMEH,
I, Kemesem SM JAMMEH,
solemnly swear that I will speak the truth,
that I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Thank you very much. Mr. JAMMEH, welcome to the TRRC. Thank you very much for making the time to testify today. I would like to give you a little information before we start. There's interpretation currently going on into the local languages. And also, because of the video link, I would ask you to speak slowly and to allow a few seconds in between our speeches in order to allow for both interpretation and transmission. Do you understand?
I do.
In terms of your testimony, we will start with a few background questions about who you are, your educational background, as well as your career. Then we will address the arrest and detention, as well as the treatment that was meted to you. We will start with what happened in 1981, but as you are aware, this commission does not have a mandate to look into those events. Therefore, because it forms part of your ordeal, we will address it, but only briefly, and then we will move on to the arrests and detentions from 1996 onwards. Do you understand that, sir?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
My name is LEMESSENG SM JAMMEH.
When and where were you born?
I was born the 1st of December 1943 at Jarasikunda, Lower River Region.
Can you tell us a bit about your educational background, when and where you attended school, including the dates? That would help us.
Yes, my educational background started at Pakalinding Primary School in January 1958. Where I stayed for
finished primary school in 1958. Do I take it
Yes.
that you started in 1952? Is that correct?
Yes, I started in 1952. In 1958, I went to Armitage High School, January.
Please continue.
Yes, I was in Armitage until 1962, when I passed out and sat to the college entrance, and I went to Yundum Teacher Training College to be trained as a teacher.
Do you recall when you went to Yundum Teachers Training College?
I think it was September 1962.
And when did you finish your studies at the Teachers Training College in Yundum?
July 1964, when I graduated as a qualified teacher.
So can you tell us a bit about your career when you started as a qualified teacher? Where did you work and when did you work there?
Yes, immediately after graduation as a qualified teacher, I chose to be posted to JAMMEH Primary School in the LRR in September 1964.
For how long were you teaching at JAMMEH Primary School?
Just about 1 year. From there, I was transferred to Kuntaya Primary School in Jokadu in September 1965.
For how long did you work at Kuntaya School?
I was in Kuntaya for 3 years. I was transferred to Kuntau Primary School in September 1968.
And for how long did you work at Kuntau School?
For 2 years. 1970, I was promoted to the position of head teacher at Kiankarantaba School in the Lower River region.
For how long did you serve as head teacher of Kiankantaba School?
Well, for 1 year. 1 year.
Thereafter, what did you do next?
Thereafter, it happened that, well, a vacancy appeared at Mansekonko Area Council, which region I come from, for the position of executive officer, now known as CEO.
Can you tell us what happened in terms of that vacancy? Presumably you applied. What happened?
Yeah, I applied, to make it short, in fact, I was the successful candidate among the applicants, and I was appointed in July 1971.
So in July 1971, you were the executive officer at the Mansakonko Area Council. For how long did you serve in that position?
I served in that position for 3 years. 1971, July 71 to September 1973.
After that, what did you do?
Well, after Kuntau Area Council, I was transferred to Kanifing Urban District Council, now known as KMC. From December 1974 to May 75.
So after finishing as executive officer of Mansakonko Area Council in 1973, you served as executive officer for the Kuntawur Area Council. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you did that for 1 year before moving to the Kanifing Urban District Council. Is that correct?
Yes. I was in Kuntawur Area Council from 1970 to 74, when I was transferred. It was in December 1974 when I was transferred to KUDC, Kanifing Urban District Council, now KMC.
So after serving as executive officer for the KUDC, now KMC, what happened next in terms of your career?
Well, that was the end of my career as an executive officer, although that was not a voluntary decision. I was dismissed by the government of the Gambia.
Can you tell us why you were dismissed?
Well, it was connected to an accident that my official vehicle sustained on my return from my home, Jara Sikunda, going towards Banjul. I had an accident on the way. And on arrival, somehow the ministry came to know about this, even though it was not a major accident and the vehicle was repaired. So, may I proceed?
Yes, please.
The ministry then wrote to my council, to me, to explain why I should not be dismissed for having sustained an accident with the car. Well, you get that?
Yes, we have gotten that.
Yes, my councillors, on hearing about that development, led a delegation to the vice president then, who was Hassan Musa Kamara, questioning for that decision to decide to dismiss me for that reason.
During the time that you served as executive officer in different regions, were you affiliated to a particular political party?
No, in fact, those days, you only had two political parties, prominent political parties, that is the PPP, which was the ruling party, and the United Party. That was the party in opposition. These were the only parties. And I was not registered to any political party whatsoever.
Did you eventually join any political party?
Of course, I did join a political party, because perhaps I want to add that after my dismissal, I petitioned, copied to the President of the Republic, that my dismissal was not lawful, and it was objected to by the councillors. But my petition did not have any reply. There was no reply whatsoever.
Can you tell us what happened next? What did you do? Did you get another job? Did you join another party? Did you join a party?
Well, in fact, yes, after that, I did not have received any reply, but I felt that, well, I was not fairly treated. And in fact, that was the second time I was suspended from my job. My first suspension was at Kundaurira Council.
So, Mr. Jammeh, we want to move on to when you actually joined a political party so that we can make some progress.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shortly after my dismissal, in 1975, in May, well, a new political party was formed in September, precisely on the 7th of September, 1975. And I decided to join politics.
What was the name of the party?
The party was National Convention Party, with Sharif Mustafa Diba, late Sharif Mustafa Diba, as the leader of the party.
During your time as a member of the National Convention Party, the NCP, did anything happen to you?
Well, yes, something happened to me because I've contested 4 consecutive parliamentary elections against the incumbent of my constituency, that is Honorable Sise. So I never succeeded in winning the constituency because of the fact that the PP was entrenched.
And just to clarify, which constituency are you referring to? Is that the Jara West?
Jara West constituency in Lower River region.
Thank you. So did anything happen to you while you were a member of that party?
Well, while I was a member of the party, yes, something happened to me.
Please tell us about it.
Yeah, this was in 1981, and there was a coup.
Can you tell us what happened to you following the coup?
Well, the coup was aborted, and Sir Dawda was reinstated as the President of the Republic. On his arrival, it was followed by massive arrest of people who are believed to be associated with that coup. I happened to be one of those who was arrested, together with my party leader, Sharif Mustafa Diba.
Can you briefly tell us, my apologies. Can you briefly tell us what happened to you? And then we will move on to the events after July 1994. So please briefly tell us what happened to you when you were arrested in 1981.
Well, 1981, August 11th, I was arrested and detained for about 10 months. And because of the detention, there was a review tribunal to review the cases of the detainees, who number over 2,000.
So you're telling us that after 10 months you were released, is that correct?
I contested the election while in detention. Not surprisingly, I was defeated. So I was released after the election.
So you were released after the elections, and this was in 1982, is that correct?
The 19 election, 82, yes, May 1982, after the election. So I think it should be mentioned here why over 2,000 people were arrested and detained for that event. I think I should say something about that.
If you can briefly tell us, as I indicated, it is not within our mandate, but just to complete your story, please go ahead.
The coup leader was Kukwe Samba Sanyang, who was our candidate in 1977 in Fonyi East. He was the candidate for the NCP in Fonyi East, and I was the candidate for Yara West for the NCP.
Please proceed.
Yes, so when it transpired that Kukwe Samba Sanyang was the leader of the coup, and Kukwe used to be a member of our party, I think this what brought about the arrest of over 1,000 members of the NCP countrywide.
So it is your testimony that because you were associated, being from the same party, you were arrested?
Yes. Yeah,
and
we were
after
arrested
10 months?
because the finger was pointed to the NCP that we were the perpetrators of the event, that we had something to do. That's the implication. That's why so many people across the country belonging to the party were arrested. And 3 of us contested 1982 election in detention. The 4th person was Sharif Mustafa by himself.
Thank you very much for that explanation, Mr. JAMMEH. After your release, if we fast forward to July 1994.
Yes. Yes, July 1994, there was a coup, as we all know, and this was a successful coup, led by JAMMEH.
Can you tell us about your career at that time? Were you still a politician?
Well, there was a ban on political activity for a period of 2 years. There was a period of 2 years transition, during which all political activity was banned. And our political party was banned together with the PPP and the NCP, so there was no political activity during that period.
So after 2 years, in 1996, political activity resumed?
Political activity resumed, and parties were formed, and I chose to remain still as an opposition party because I did not trust what they were saying, what the military were saying.
What were the military saying at that time?
They said that they came just to cleanse the system, to establish accountability. They were not interested in politics, which was dirty. That after having cleansed the system, they were going to barracks.
So because you did... Please
many
continue.
people thought that these soldiers were saying something which they did not mean really. And I belong to that group of people. Because during the transition, there was an organ known as the July 22nd movement, which went round to mobilize the population. And the ulterior motive many people saw was that there was a political motive behind the July 22nd. They were a party in the making.
You said that you chose to remain in the opposition.
Yes, I chose to remain in the opposition. Yes, and I went back to my constituency. The banner of the NCP started to mobilize after resumption of political activity in August 1996.
So just to make sure I understand correctly, when the ban on political activities was lifted, you resumed your activities still under the NCP. Is that correct?
No.
Please
The NCP
clarify.
was one of the parties that were banned. The parties that were banned were the PPP, the NCP, and the GPP.
So under which party did you resume your activities? Did you join a party?
I resumed by joining my party. Sorry. After our parties, these big parties were banned. People like me had believed that the motive of banning big parties like the NCP, PVP, and the GPP was just to clear a way for their political motives. So a new party was formed.
Can you tell us the name of the party and how it was formed?
Yeah, the party was formed by members from across those parties that were banned. See, so people belonging to the PPP, the NCP, and GPP, see, those are the people who came together and formed the party, and in fact, look for a party leader. People across those parties formed a party and looked for a party leader, and that was Hussein Dabo that they agreed on. So the name of the party was the United Democratic Party. He did not form the party. The party was formed, and he was asked to lead it.
And why was Mr. Ousseynou Dabo chosen as the person to lead the United Democratic Party?
You know, it must be one person. Only one person can lead at a time. There are some other eligible ones, but the prime motive was that he has a legal background. And he's on record for having defended human rights in the past. He demonstrated it during the 1981 coup. So, when this thing happened, the people who are the original members who founded the party decided that an opposition leader who is to fight against the ruling party should have a legal background to be on the safe side.
Do you recall the exact date when the party was formed?
I think it was 23rd August 1996.
So you resumed political activities under the banner of the UDP.
Yes,
Did anything
that's
happen
correct.
to you as a result of that?
Oh, yes, something happened to me.
Please tell us about
Well,
it.
you know, I went back to my constituency, that is Jara. So I was responsible for mobilizing the Jara Central and Jara West constituencies. And we resumed a campaign when the go ahead was given. I was campaigning, organizing for the United Democratic Party in these two constituencies, Jara East, Jara West, and Jara Central. And in the course of that, there was another contender in that same constituency for the APRC. The party was now the AFPRC. Sorry, the AFPRC was eventually turned into APRC. And in my constituency, Jara West, there is a strong man for the APRC there, who was late Baba Job.
Can you tell us what happened to you as a result of your political activities?
While I was busy campaigning in the both constituencies, it happened that, if I can remember, it was around 23rd of September, 1996. So I was programmed to go to Japan that day. While I was, my vehicles were fueling, I received, I was faced by some police officers, two police officers, who told me that I was wanted by the OC, Lower River Division, at Soma Police Station.
I'd like to clarify a couple of issues. At the time, were you at your home?
Yes.
And was that in Jara West, or were you in Jara Central at the time?
No, I was in Jara. I went to Soma, preparing to go to Japine, because that's where we were programmed. We had a permit to cover the period of the campaign. So that particular day, the 23rd, we are scheduled to go to Japine. So while the vehicles were fueling, the police came for me. They said I was wanted at the Soma Police Station. I told them by who. They said the OC, Officer Commanding Lower River Region.
Do you recall the names of the two police officers that came to your home?
Well, I cannot recall their names, unfortunately.
Do you remember?
I cooperate. Yes. So
when they asked you to go down to the police station, did they tell you why at that stage?
No, they did not tell me. I asked. They just only told that the OC wanted to see me there. So I went there with the hope that I would see the OC at Soma Police Station, although his office is at Manta Congo. But he wanted to see me at Soma Police Station.
Do you recall who was the OC, the officer commanding at that point in time?
Unfortunately, no, again. I cannot remember really.
That's perfectly fine. So you arrived at the Soma police station.
Yes,
were you arrested alone?
No, I was the only one who was arrested, and detained at some police station from 11 o'clock up to about 3 o'clock. I inquired, where was the OC? And nobody, they said that he would be coming. They kept on saying that until by 3 o'clock, a jeep was arranged for me to be taken to Janjanbureh. I was told that we are going to Janjanbureh prison. I told him, but for what? They said, well, when you go to Janjanbureh, they will tell you there. I told them, you people who arrest me would not tell me the cause of my arrest. You expect the people of Janjanbureh to tell me that? They said, well, this is the instruction they had.
Do you recall how many people took you from Soma police station to Janjanbureh prison?
Well, it's a double cabin vehicle, driver, yes, a driver, and I think a couple of escorts who took me to Janjanbureh, went to Janjanbureh on the 23rd of September. See, and I was delivered to the prison officer there, P.O. Jara.
Can you repeat the name?
P.O. Jara, prison officer Jara.
Upon your arrival at Janjanbureh prison, were you finally told why you were being arrested and detained?
I was not told anything. I was not told anything. I was not told anything. But nobody would tell me anything. So I was just dumped there like that. I was detained just like that.
Were you processed in any way?
Well, I was just ushered in there, and I was taken to a cell, and I surprisingly found Lamin Wajwara. That's when I came to meet him. By that time, people never knew where he was.
Well, let's take this step by step. Upon your arrival at Janjanbureh prison,
yes,
can you describe the cell that you were taken to?
I was taken to a small cell that had just 2 beds. One was occupied by Lamin Wajwara, and I was occupying the second one.
Can you describe the conditions of the cell?
The conditions very, very bad indeed. Poor ventilation, and we only had one blanket to be spread on a concrete sort of slab to be used as a bed, and another blanket to be used as a cover. The quality of the food was not was really poor, really.
Before we talk about the food, can you give us an idea of how big the cell was? What was the size?
That cell was a small one. The one that I was with Juara was a small cell, but it's a bigger cell that contained many more people. See?
You mentioned that the food was terrible. Can you tell us about the food that you were given?
Well, anyway, rice, but really is not really standard food, really not good food, really. But the fortunate part of it was that we had access to food from outside. Me had access at the initial stage.
Well, let's take it step by step. On the first day that you arrived, were you given any food?
Yes, we are given food.
And is it the rice that you mentioned?
Yes, it's not the type of food really one would really choose, but we had no choice.
Can you tell us a bit more about what you were served? What do you mean by it wasn't the type of food that you would expect?
Anyway, it's the food with fish sometimes, and sometimes meat, although the standard, the quality of the food really was not the way it was prepared really is not really up to standard. You don't expect standard food at prison.
Apart from rice, were you served anything else? Any other type of food?
Sometimes porridge, pap.
Can you tell us about the pap?
Pap will be given with some amount of sugar, but anyway, we tried to put up with it. And cherry also. Cherry was also served.
How would you describe the cherry that you were served?
Well, just try to eat to survive, to live. Just to eat to survive.
So upon your arrival at Janjanbureh prison, the first day, I'm still referring to the 23rd September 1996. Did your family know where you were?
They told me that they were going to take me to Janjanbureh, at Sasoma, they know that. So my family knew, and my campaign team, they knew. I handed over my permit to them and everything, campaign money. So they knew that I was going to Janjanbureh.
Still focusing on the first day of your arrival in Janjanbureh prison, can you tell us what it felt like in those first few hours? You said you met Mr. Lamin Wajwara inside the cell.
Yes. Yes.
Can you describe to us what it felt like in those first few hours?
It was not good at all. But anyway, at least Wajwara was detained well before me. But people never knew where actually he was. He was transferred from cell to cell, different over 9 cells. So people did not know where he was. But when I arrived, I had access to visitors.
Do you know why you were allowed visitors and he wasn't?
I don't know why. Because he was transferred to different cells. I don't know why he was arrested. So I was allowed visitors. My family members came to see me. And my compatriots, party members in Janjanbureh brought food for me also. So it was there that people knew that why is in Janjanbureh. It was because of me that the people know where he was.
Can you tell us the condition in which you found Mr. Lamin Wajwara upon your arrival there?
It was bad, really. It was bad. Knowing the sort of passing the sort of standard of living was bad. It was bad, really. See, but we had to put up with it.
Can you tell us how you coped with that situation?
And we had to cope with the situation. We go to bed 5 o'clock. Our cells are locked by 5 o'clock in the evening. See? So, up to 8 o'clock in the morning. See? So this is the condition. It's a very terrible condition, really. See?
Were you allowed to take a shower, for example?
Yes. We were allowed to take shower. Yes.
You said that you were allowed to see your family members as well as members of your party?
Yes, but that lasted up to a point when there was that attack at Farafenni camp.
When was the attack at Farafenni camp?
I think somewhere around about December or so, there was an attack there. some people, military people, soldiers were killed at Farafenni. I think that's public knowledge. The country, everybody knew about that. There was an attack at Farafenni campus. Soldiers attack.
Since
Some
you were
people were
inside the
killed.
prison, how did you find out about the attack?
Well, the news came to us that there was this attack. And prior to that, we had visitors, but since the Farafenni attack, we were kept incommunicado. No visitors. No food from outside again. As if we were party to the, the attack of that camp.
How long did that situation persist, being kept incommunicado?
Well, it lasted for a long time. We were there in that condition. I cannot remember exactly until when this was I think early January or so that they came for us to go and Farafenni. That was a surprise. All of a sudden they came for us to say that, well, we are going to Farafenni for a court case.
Before we go into the details of that, from 23rd September up until end of December 1996, were you given access to a lawyer?
No.
At any point during that period, were you informed of the reasons for your arrest and detention?
No. For about 2 months, no. No news about the reason for my detention, really.
So the first time any action was taken in relation to your arrest and detention was when you were then moved from Janjanpure prison and taken to Farafenni. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you've told us that was in January 1997.
Yes.
Can you tell us where you were taken in Farafenni?
We were taken to the Farafenni police station.
Who transported you from Janjanpure prison to Farafenni police station?
Well, a vehicle came for us to transfer us. In fact, we were 3 who were connected to the United Democratic Party. I was taken together with Seni Sabali, who happened to be the UDP's coordinator for the North Bank region, and Siaka Sonko, who used to be the chief of the security section of the United Democratic Party. So I was the candidate for Jara West. So these were the 3 people who were all linked together, taken to Farafenni. I never knew why we were going to Farafenni until when we arrived.
So just to clarify, when you were taken to Farafenni, was Mr. Wajwara still in prison in Janjanpure?
Yeah, why was there? We left him there. He was not taken.
So the 3 of you yourself?
It was only me, Sedi Sabali, and Siaka Sonko.
Can you tell us what happened upon your arrival at Farafenni police station?
Yes, it was interesting. By the time, unfortunately, there was no electricity that day. When we were put in a small cell, very dark, very stingy, We were there, so we waited until the following day. We were taken to court. I was wondering.
Yes. Before you proceed, can we just talk about the cell that you were taken to at Farafenni Police Station?
This cell was very, very narrow. In fact, we tried to manage it. It had nothing really, nothing to lie on, nothing. But I must mention here that, well, the station officer exercised some amount of humanity, about the situation, because there was nothing, and the cell was smelling. So he asked Cindy Savali to send somebody home to go out to go and bring something to spread on the floor so that we can lie down. Nothing on the nothing to spread. See, so Seni, who has a compound in Farafenni, sent somebody home to bring something to spread on the floor. So that was what we had to make. The police officer was very, very human in his consideration.
Do you recall his name?
I think the surname was Mr. Seka, but he's a tall gentleman, but I can't remember the name now. But that was very kind of him, out of consideration for humanity, see, putting himself in our condition, just lie on the floor like that, really. It was very, very serious, really. So that's where we stayed.
Told us that the cell was very dark, dingy,
yes,
it was smelly.
Yes, it was smelling. So,
what was the ventilation like in the cell?
Well, it was not good. There was poor ventilation. These cells are like that. See, but at least we had something to spread on the floor. See?
Were you given any food to eat upon your arrival that day?
Upon our arrival, as I told you, that Seni Sabali has a compound and a family in Farafenni. So we are, food was brought to us from Seni's family. So we never had complaint about food in our stay. So we always had food from Seni's family.
Did your family know that you had been transferred from Janjanbureh prison to Farafenni police station?
Yeah, they came to know about it and they crossed to come and visit us. Really, our detention at Farafenni, really, I can say it was not harsh. We had access to people, visitors. That was very, very reasonable of them. Yes.
Upon your arrival there, were you told why you had been transferred from Janjanbureh prison to Farafenni police station?
When we left to Janjanbureh, we were told that we are going for a court case. So I was now looking forward to hearing why. The police would not tell me, but the court. I was looking forward to the court to hear what I would hear. The cause of my detention, really. Up to now, I did not know really. Nobody ever told me anything about it.
How long after your arrival at Farafenni police station did you appear before a court?
The following day, in fact. The following day, we appeared before court, presided over by Magistrate Bori Ture. He was a magistrate at the time.
Was it all three of you who appeared before Magistrate
All three
Ture?
of us. All three of us.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived there?
Yeah, when we arrived there, well, in fact, we negotiated for a lawyer, but the lawyer, unfortunately, did not arrive. Martin Mendy did not arrive at the time. So we had to do it ourselves. So a charge sheet was read that we three were involved in a problem which occurred in Farafenni. In September, I can't remember the precise date, that there was a confrontation, there was a problem in Farafenni where some uh, there was a confrontation between the UDP delegation. That was on a countrywide tour. We were confronted by the 22nd July movement guys, and there was a fracas in that area.
During that incident, were you in Farafenni?
No, I missed to go to Farafenni for 2 years. So I was surprised when I heard about that we were charged about the problem which occurred in Farafenni. See, when I never went to Farafenni for the past 2 years, after the coup d'etat. That we were involved in breaking, falling some fences of the surrounding compounds where this problem happened, and breaking some window screens of windscreens of vehicles. So it came as a big surprise to me that, contrary to some sections of the laws of the Gambia, we were charged for causing damage to vehicles, pulling down some people's fences, when in actual fact I did not go to Farafenni for the past 2 years. So all three were charged, the same charge.
Can you tell us what happened that day in court?
In court, after the prosecution came with the charge, sorry, the magistrate, when he read the charge sheet, we were charged for pulling down fences of, surrounding countries, surrounding fences in that area where the confrontation took place, and also broke windscreens of vehicles. This was the charge. That was the charge against us.
What was the outcome of the case?
The outcome of the case was that, the magistrate granted, the case did not come to an end up till now. The magistrate granted us bail. See, but this was opposed initially. So we adjourned for about a week, and we resumed, and the case resumed. Then my lawyer came, and the case proper started. But there was no progress. So after the charge sheet was read to us in the presence of lawyer, we pleaded not guilty. So there was again this legal sort of argument between the defense and the prosecution. So again, the matter was adjourned, but we were granted bail that day.
Were you released after you were granted bail?
Yes, in fact, after our bail, I was released. I went home to Jara Shikunda for just a day, and the police came for me again and told me that, they had the instruction to rearrest me and take me back to Janjambure.
Did they tell you who they had received instructions from?
No, from the authorities. The authorities. That was it. So the same 3 people were taken back again. But I think it's interesting to tell you what happened while I was in Farafenni. It's interesting. Possibly that will be a factor that can lead to my arrest, rearrest.
Please proceed.
Yes, in fact, while we were in Farafenni that week happened to be the week for nomination of parliamentary candidates while we were in Farafenni. So my supporters went to Banjul to find out whether I was qualified to be nominated as a candidate for the parliamentary seat of Jaro West. Legally, whether I was qualified, even under detention. Then they were advised that, well, I was a detainee, but not a convict. And because of that, I qualify to be nominated as a candidate, if that is the wish of the constituents. Then people of Jara West constituency resolved that, well, that was their choice. So that was how my nomination papers were processed. They were brought to me at Farafenni. As I told you, we were accessible to visitors. So it was during that when the document came to me, my nomination papers came, and I signed them. So the following Monday was to be, that was on a Sunday that the papers came. So that following Monday was to be nomination. My deposit was paid, receipt was sent to the IEC at Mansakonko, my nomination papers were sent, that was all. And I was nominated while I was in detention, waiting for the ruling of the court of Boriture. So, after my nomination, we went back to court, as I said. Following Thursday, we went there. There was this legal argument about this matter. See, the argument of the prosecution was that I was detained on the basis of a decree. But the magistrate asked them to produce that decree that authorized them to detain me. They were unable to do it. And as a result, we were granted bail. So, I went home after having been nominated already, thinking that I was going to embark on the campaign as my colleagues were doing, only to find that the following day, Friday, they came for me again, after having been nominated, to take me back to Janjambure.
So if I understand your testimony, your belief is that it is because you were a candidate vying for elections, that is why you were rearrested. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. That's the inference I can draw.
But they didn't tell you why you were being rearrested at that time?
No. As usual, they just came for us like that. See? Took us back. Well, I told my people, now the job is done. I told them now what has happened in Ghana should happen here. Kwame Nkrumah was elected when he was in jail. I told them that history should be repeated here.
Thank you very
The
much,
job
Mr.
has been done.
Jammeh. Please continue.
Yes.
Yeah. I note the
told them that
time.
the
It's
job has
about
been
5
done.
minutes left.
Okay.
I apologize for interrupting you. I just want to ask
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman if the commissioners would like to ask a few questions before we take the break in 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you very much, Ambassador LEMESSENG JAMMEH Nkotoke. He was my senior in school for 4 years. We spent in the same house for 4 years. We're together. It's good to see you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? If not, okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, Imam.
Mr. Jammeh, Commissioner Usain
Yes.
Diallo.
Koroje.
Yes, OJ. Thank you. But now I'm
Hello,
Imam.
Jerry. I know. I heard about it. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that Usainu Dabo did not create the UDP. Can you give us the names of those people who created the party?
I can name some. See, people across the political spectrum, people like belonging to different political parties, but I can remember the delegation that met him, composed of people like Kepa Jammeh, late Sefo of Padibu, and Seni Dabo. Seni Dabo, late, was working with agriculture. Those are some of the people who headed the delegation to at least to confront Usainu. Then he was on leave in America. During the summer, they normally lawyers go on leave, court case, So he came and found this problem here. He was confronted by these people that his service was needed, that he should accept. Then he asked to be given 1 week to consider the matter. So because he had a family and friends, he cannot single-handedly, make such a big decision. But luckily, friends and family members advised him to accept the challenge. So he did.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? If not, Council, I think we can take a 30-minute break and come back at sharp 12 noon. Is that all right? Splendid. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. We are back at 12 noon.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, they are going to by break.
So what time?
12 noon.
Did you give you the time?
12.
Okay.
And the 12 noon is going to be about 3 o'clock. Yes.
Vehicles, you are giving it to parliamentarians. Where is the source? The parliamentarians themselves should challenge that.
Yes, TRRC and GDC no opposition. Fine. All other parties that doesn't concern me, either UDP or NRP or PDP, they are all in the government. Man, dama against ID card mu nekk $450.